There was no integration between all the sfirot. So for example, the sphere of chesed was fully expressing itself. The sphere of gevura was fully expressing itself, but they weren't communicating. They weren't integrating. There was no connection between them. It wasn't, it's called Kabbalistically, hiskalos hamidos. There was no integration between them. And because there was so much light, the light was so huge, it just basically, it self-imploded this world, the world of Tohu, which preceded this world. And there was what's called shvirat hakelim. There was the shattering of the vessels. The light was too great. And because it wasn't integrating or communicating, each one of those lights was just too great on its own, and it just shattered. And what happened was, after that, the shattered shards of that world fell all the way down to this world, which is called the world of Tikkun, the world of rectification, which is a world, again, also made up of these 10 sfirot, the 10 divine attributes, but each of the sfirot have their own vessel. So each of them have a light and a vessel to contain it. And each of the sfirot are all communicating one within the other. Again, unfortunately, I forgot to load on here the tree of life. But if you look at the tree of life, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. If you've seen a chart of the sfirot, each of them are connected to the other. They're not independent of their own. They're all connected one to the other. And so in that way, each of them were able to express their light and also receive the light of the other. And that's why the world of Tikkun is a world of communication and integration and flow and balance. That's really the energy of the world of Tikkun. So that's all the kind of the Kabbalah behind it. But now I want to make this practical of how does this really relate to us in our lives? Because again, we said everything that happens Kabbalistically externally in the world, in the cosmos, is also happening internally. And it's also connected to us on an emotional level, on a psychological level, on a physiological level. So what does these deep ideas, right, have to really do with us in our lives? So again, what is the world of Tohu? We said what does it mean for us? It means for us that when we have a tremendous amount of emotional energy, let's say, and it's not channeled or it's not contained, eventually there's just going to be a shattering of our vessel. And I'm going to give you an example to bring it down and to make it practical. For example, let's say fear, right? It's very normal to have fear, and it's actually healthy to have fear. If we don't have fear, what's going to happen? We could, God forbid, wind up doing things that would be very dangerous for us. Like a healthy amount of fear is normal, and it keeps us functioning, and it keeps us productive, and it keeps us safe. But when a person has an infinite amount of fear, a fear that overwhelms their system, that they just have fear and they're hijacked by the fear, and it's not balanced, there's no chesed, there's no love, there's no compassion, it's just fear. What happens? The person is going to have a panic attack. It's going to overwhelm their system. And what's going to happen? Eventually, there's going to be a shvirat hakelim, a shattering of the vessel, right? That's what a panic attack is. It's just you're overwhelmed and consumed with fear because there's no communication between all the different parts. There's no other part that's saying, okay, you're fearful. I hear you. Let's bring some love here. Let's bring some compassion here. Let's mellow the fear through the love and through the compassion. It's just fear, infinite amount of fear hijacking the system, right? Or let's say love. If a person is a very giving person and a person is always giving of themselves and always helping other people, but they're giving, again, with no boundaries, and they're just giving and giving and giving and never saying no to anyone, what happens? Eventually, they're also going to self-destruct, right? Even though it's chesed, it's love, it's kindness, it's giving, it's beautiful, it's the most godly trait. But without the boundaries, without the gevura, without that boundaries and containing the love, eventually you're just going to burn yourself out, and there is going to be, again, a shattering of your vessel. Usually the place of shviras hakelim, of shattering the vessel, is when a person actually comes into therapy, because they feel, again, overwhelmed. Their body can't contain all that energy. And it's a really a place where most people start their healing journey, is that place of really of the shattering of the vessels of Tohu. It's like there's so much energy and so much light, and it comes from a very high place. But now it's like, okay, how do we contain that fear? How do we contain the love? How do we integrate all the different parts of ourselves? How do we start communicating and recognizing all the different voices and all the different perspectives and all the different beliefs and all the different parts of ourselves? And that's really where healing happens. That's really the start of, like, generally the process. So first, I feel like I've been speaking a lot. Does anyone have any questions or want to share anything?
Miriam,
Yeah.
hi. Wait. The Comcast is here, but I just wanted to say, I heard that higher, like dark things or bad, what we perceive as bad, come from a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Things
Uh,
that things that
yeah.
we perceive as bad,
Right.
and it
Right.
comes actually from the highest of sources. Yeah, yeah. But again, we
Thank
don't see that. We don't see it from our limited perspective.
Thank you for the class. The Comcast is here,
Oh, you
so
gotta go. Oh, you have to go.
yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
My internet's broken.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
bye.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Miriam,
Yeah, sure.
where the Klipot situation comes
Uh,
into what you're saying?
again. So come on, stop it.
Oh, okay. She's going off. Okay.
Oh.
Where did the klipa come in? You're saying in the idea of the shattering of the vessels?
Yeah.
Okay. So when the world of Tohu shattered, what happened was all that the light, the shattered pieces of that world fell down into this world, the world of Tikkun, the world of Asiya, as we call it, this physical world that we're in, and that is the klipa energy that is the dark energy that's within the world. So it's from, again, so the klipa energy, this is really the point, but is actually kind of connected to what Karen was saying, that klipa energy really comes from its source up high. And that's why it doesn't have any energy of its own. Everything is godly energy, right? There's nothing that's outside of God. And even the klipa energy comes from the highest source. But again, and most of the klipa energy is actually what's called klipa noga, which is neutral energy, which is how we relate to it. That through our intentionality, we can actually uplift the dark energies of the world, right? But or there's energies that are completely dark that we can't relate to, we can't actually uplift or elevate at all. But most of our job in this world is actually to transform that and to work with that klipa energy, to elevate that klipa energy, which came from that high source up above when that shattering of the vessels.
What about the idea that these Klipot energies attach to a person?
Well, we all have, again, we have within us. What do you mean? Can you explain what do you mean more about, like, attaching to the person? What do you mean?
Well, I just heard that whatever source, that these energies, the Klipot, they hang on to a person. They like suck the person's energy. They're just ingrained in that person, and it's hard to release it, so to speak.
Yeah. So basically, klipa energy, again, has nothing of its own. So it needs the source energy in order to maintain, to enliven it, to give it life. So it actually is a relationship where it needs us to give it light. So the more we actually are in our light, we don't actually give it energy. It's like people could think of it, oh my God, we have this dark energy that's attached to us and we can't free ourselves of it. It's just leeching off of us, but it's only leeching off of us if we actually give it energy, if we give it fuel, if we take it seriously and we're like, if we, like, for example, our enemies, and we see this so clearly now, like our enemies who seem so serious and so strong, you know, this Hezbollah and Syria and all they're nothing on their own. They were just leeching from the Jewish people, from our energy of, which is the energy of God, the energy of light. But what happened the moment we actually like, and I see that, I saw that, so it's amazing living here and seeing that. The more we were in our light, and we saw even our leadership being like, we are not compromising, we are not buying into this, we are in our light, this is the truth, this is the land of Israel, we are the Jewish people. The more we did that, miracles started to happen. And they just started to, I mean, like just self-destruct, literally self-implode on themselves. So it's not that they're sucking off of us and that's it, we're like, they're leeching off of us and we're doomed. It's like how we relate to it, right? If we actually recognize for what it is and be like, okay, this is, but my intentionality is to be in my light, see it for what it is, be the truth of my soul, be the love and the compassion that I am, the godly essence of who I am, and actually live from that place.